Sorry. This is just fucking sad. It's the exhaustion of living up to everyone's expectations, including your own. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we're back with another episode of Magia Record. Got it right this time. We are on the final episode of Season 2, and after that, I believe there's only, again, 4 episodes in Season 3. And then the movies. I guess, let me know. Do I need to watch the first 2 movies, or are those just the, Madoka Magica, the show, broken into 2 movies? Because if it's just Walpurgis Rising, I think that's the name of the movie, then I can jump into that and I can get that out there faster for y'all than otherwise. I guess this is the first time I'm actually taking an opinion on whether I should watch a movie or not, because typically I've just done them before. But the element that it's going to take me a while to get the movies out anyway, might as well save y'all some time if it's just the same thing again. But yeah, other than that, we come back as we normally do with notes on a board, so let's go ahead and hop on into the board, where really there's not a lot of changes. Until we see the resolution of the current season, or at least this arc, I'm not going to take the step of marking Mami or Yui as hostile. I understand what is going on and that they are actually hostile in the moment, but the fact that last episode involved a possible solution to that, and it might carry in on this next episode, the element that we can fix it, gonna wait and see how that resolves. Hell, based on how last episode ended, I might just be marking them as dead, so I'm gonna wait on that aspect. Otherwise, the only actual change is that I added coordinator to the group green line between, all the characters from the show. Or, not all the characters from the show, but, our main group. So, yeah, to notes. So, the 2 papers floating beside Nemu that were not translated last episode, Google Translate says that they say, Wings of Magius retreats from the attack range of the rumored Kamihama Saint, dedicated to protection from witches. The use of the word rumored is confusing, as it would seem to imply something different than their actual rumors, the beings, I mean, and more like rumored as in talked about. Of course, this could be an element of mistranslation, and they actually mean the rumor of Kamihama Saint, which would be their witch eater, I guess, and they are just sounding a general retreat of Magia's forces before the shit hits the fan. By the way, I probably should have said this first thing, but in case I sound weird again in this recording, whatever is hurting my tongue is still hurting, so if I lisp or mispronounce a word, it's not my normal mispronunciation thing, it's the element that I'm not finishing the tongue motions to say the words, so. The fact that Toka says that they have to become gods to save magical girls is kind of a tainted statement, considering we finished Madoka Magica and know how that ends, and thus how true their statement is. As I said in the reaction, though, they can't have known about what Madoka will have done in the future, so via their own intelligence they've come up with a plan to do what will be done by accident, or the element that Akemi's whole gathering of karmic power or whatever. I guess possibly more damning, Akemi going forwards, should she come to realize the details of all this, never really considers it in the course of events she goes through when trying to save Madoka, despite her being the battery of karma that causes Madoka to get there. Unless all of that was actually nonsense, and Akemi pulls something from this timeline after it's all over that carries on through her next few loops and is what causes Madoka to become what she becomes, effectively stealing it from Toka and Nemu and passing it on to an alternate Madoka. That would be, I don't know if it'd be cool or funny, it would be a thing. It'd be a thing I would find to be particularly interesting if Nemu and Toka discovered a way to become a god, and Akemi accidentally steals it and gives it to Madoka in a different timeline. Hell, I mean, that might be the element of Akemi trying to use her power, and then the green shit coming up, that she has been somehow across timelines infected with this thing that she then passes on to Madoka. I don't know. I guess Akemi's power doesn't work because a rumor is considered to be a whole thing, right? So the amusement park as a whole is a rumor, so being inside of it effectively means Akemi is touching all of it. That's my read on why her power was stopped anyway. If that's wrong, I guess let me know. We are really setting up for Yachio to die before the show is over. She's already talking like it's inevitable, and considering the best way to leave everyone behind. As much as I'd believe that a subversion is coming our way, I wouldn't be surprised if she pulls a self-sacrifice to save someone, or everyone, before we're done. So now we have yet another tier of being. We got humans, we have Kyobi's race, we have familiars, which haven't been around in forever, but I gotta assume if there's still witches, then familiars must still exist. And, of course, witches, magical girls, rumors, or Awasa, whatever you want to call them. Doppels. Technically, whatever those things that replace witches at the end of Madoka Magica are called, since I haven't seen the movie yet. I know they don't exist at the same time as witches and familiars, assuming the familiars get wiped out. I don't know yet either. But they still are technically a thing that we can put on the list. And now we have Uwasa / Magical Girl fusions. I gotta say, in no world did I see Momoko's conversation with Coordinator going the way that it did. Even in the rewatch, to take notes, I couldn't remember how this got turned around. Coordinator is giving the strongest neutral evil face that I think I've ever seen, saying that none of this is her problem. I got no idea how you talk your way past that, and yet somehow Momoko power of friendshiped her way past that barrier. I did misunderstand what Coordinator was saying about her weakness. For some reason, I interpreted it as, if I transform, I'll turn into a witch, when in reality, she was saying that her magic powers have nothing to do with fighting, so she'd just die or become a witch if she tried. So my confusion at the end of the episode was entirely misplaced. I said at the end of the episode, I mean the last time that we saw Coordinator, near the end of the episode. Sayaka says that she knows Mammy best, and I don't know about that. I know she was a magical girl longer in our main timeline, by which I mean longer than Madoka. She's the first one to turn, other than Mammy, of course. But no telling in the timelines where Akemi didn't delay Madoka from becoming a magical girl early, if Madoka didn't become one before Sayaka. Also, the timeline we are most familiar with, Mammy and Madoka had the closer connection. Also, if memory serves, the timeline where Mammy finds out about Magical Girl's fates and freaks out, the first person she kills, I think, was Sayaka, wasn't it? I don't know what that says about closeness, if true. The element that Kuro just shows up at the start of the show and then vanishes and then comes back late into season 2 with no backstory, just the motivation to go to Kamihama, it kind of makes her mysterious. Now seeing her doppel accuse her of abandonment, and I can't help but think she might be tied to the Yui thing. I don't know, grasping at straws maybe. I think during the reaction I may have even guessed that she could be Yui. At the same time, I think I've guessed like 10 different things about what's happened with Ui by now. Here's hoping it's not something super obvious that I was supposed to have gotten already. I'm gonna look real dumb. I guess dumber than I already look, but whatever. Alright, and my final note, considering that the episode was called You Don't Know Anything, and the bit about the connecting was making sure to keep a vision of who the person was while connecting, and making sure that the vision was accurate, or it would also hurt them. I'm going to make a guess that that's what's at play, a mask situation. that Yui is a bubbly and cheerful person on the outside as a mask for the pain that she feels on the inside. That Yachio's vision of her isn't who Yui sees herself as, and thus it misaligned and hurt her. That this is going to be an episode of confronting the pain and discovering who your friends really are. Anyway, as I said, that was my final note, so nothing left to do but to hop on in and see how the season ends on Magia Record.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Again, remember they're just husks. Technically, Sayaka could heal this. That does feel like Yui breaking through. Because it doesn't feel like that's something that the Uwasa merged version was saying before. Again, it's not great that the controlled version feels like killing you is saving you. Yeah, what are you doing, baby? Kyobi. I mean, it is a depressing thing. I mean, I would think Yachio is the one who knows her best. Oh, for half a second there, I thought this was actually going to be, like end of show might not have an opening sequence because the episode's going to be so packed full of stuff. I thought that's what might have been going on. And forgive me if the opening had clues the entire time, because I feel like I must be missing that. Because, I've broken down elements of the opening all throughout the show's run so far. And really, I think the only thing I've actually picked up was the element of the house changing the people that lived there in the opening. But yeah, again, of all the people, Yachio is the one that's known Yui the longest amongst this group, so I would just assume that Yachio would be the only one who has a real chance. Unless Felicia. They might be pulling a Felicia because Felicia spends all of her time there with her. Whereas Yachio, I don't know what their relationship was like before all of this, right? And Felicia just had that falling out with Yachio. Falling out, tiff. They just had that tiff. So that could be an element of bringing her back. Certainly it's not going to be Kure, even though Kure is just off running up a stairwell. I don't know what that's going to be. Unless Kure is going to confront Toka and Nemu. Yeah. Also, witches are getting really weak, by the way. What are we doing? I'm assuming this is just one of the tents here at this place. I mean, it's essentially what I said in my notes. Are we going to question why she wanted to be the strongest? That maybe there was something behind that? What I say? Because she was friends with the same people and had to go through them dying too. She had to be strong for Yachio. I'm calling it. Is it going to be that she never had a chance to mourn herself? Oh, I can't remember. Was she not there when everyone died? Parents we never see. Yeah, like I said, she wasn't there. Is that you don't want to pull out it was bad luck on the person who's constantly talking about luck. I mean, the one who died was constantly talking about luck. Oh, there you go. Exactly what I said. Masks. I'm still confused where this is happening. Because it's also Yui's voice, right? I mean, by which it's her narrative, unless it's Yachio giving us what she believed to be Yui's narrative. Yeah, she went from a large friend group to nobody. Now that's the fucking depressing part. The double-edged sword that she also feels abandoned by you. That you were hurting and you isolated yourself. But she also needed you. I told you, she's the fucking heart of the team. And now it's even more depressing. Uh-oh. Because she abandoned you when you needed her. And also she went off to fight the witch when it seemed like They wouldn't without you.
私は最強。
Yeah, you can only put up the facade for so long.
お客さん、中華飯店バンバン祭へようこそ。そんなことどうでもいい。鶴乃ちゃんは鶴乃ちゃんだよ。
Sorry. This is just fucking sad. It's the exhaustion of living up to everyone's expectations, including your own.
バカなこと言わないで。何がラッキーだよ。最悪じゃない。そんなことありませんよ。何これ。
Oh, which you must have seen at the memory bank place.
鶴乃ちゃん、違うんだよ。違うの。もう頑張れない。頑張りたくない。私にはもう何も残ってない。
I mean, you could also believe that's Felicia's words. It sounds more like Felicia than it does Yui.
私がいけなかったのね。私が鶴乃を追い込んでしまった。八千代さん。
I don't. What was that? The glyph thing
私
had the same look as when they connected to her. So
精神を
okay, there we go. I got there just moments before they said it.
鶴乃ちゃんは最強。誰よりも強い。嘘ついちゃダメだよ、鶴乃ちゃん。鶴乃、強いから大丈夫。平気平気。
And here's Felicia.
大丈夫じゃねえよ。フェリシア、もう
What'd I say?
お前強くなんかねえよ。
I said the person who'd probably understand her the best would be Felicia.
我慢じゃねえよ。我慢しちまったら一生やめらんなくなっちまうぞ。フェリシア、あなた、八千代だって同じだ。私が原因だった。私が鶴乃に強くあってほしいと押し付けていた。
She doesn't think she can trust you anymore, too. Yeah, it's so fucking sad. Because it's exactly what I thought it was gonna be. But worse.
私、みんなに厳しすぎたんだわ。八千代さんが厳しかったのは自分自身に対してもですよ。本当は誰も強くなんてないんです。
Again, I think Yachio knows her better, but I think Felicia comes from a similar place. That Felicia would understand her better emotionally than Yachio would.
鶴乃にはもう強がらないでほしい。私たちは弱いまま支え合いましょう。イロハ。もう無理です。どうにか間に合ったみたいだな。桃子さん、何を言ってるんです？だいぶ遅刻ですよ。背中は私たちに任せてくれ。
Or I guess it's not that witches became so much weaker. They said that the Kamihama magical girls are just so much stronger. So I guess I'm just used to witches being a bigger threat.
私も心を合わせます。ええ。あなたは最強になんてなりたくなかったし。
I've said this in the Discord 100 times over, but I think you could do an amazing crossover of Madoka Magica and Gurren Lagann. Because I feel like this show is just Gurren Lagann for girls. Because I get the same emotional beats from this episode as I got from any of the Gurren Lagann stuff. Gurren Lagann stuff is just manly tears, and this is a whole different kind of tears. If I wasn't in so much pain right now, I would be crying, I feel like. By the way, this is the soundtrack that gets copyright every time. Well, now we know where the Mimi's I have to save them thing comes from. That's their mask. Still, I would have bet dollars to donuts that Madoka would have been the one who would have aligned with her the most. Oh! Double main character connect. Sorry, that was for sure shining, burning finger from G Gundam. So they took out the beacon, but we still have Walpurgis on the way, I assume? Plus Kamihama Saint, because I can't remember what the thing's actual name was. Is Rena still up there at the top of the tower? I guess looking over Coordinator, yeah, while Coordinator's trying to save Kane. I'm assuming the Akemi frown is because that's not what happens. Oh, trying to prevent the timeline. Got it. I guess Akemi doesn't carry forward the knowledge of how to connect because she just doesn't do it in the future. Aw. I wanted more of the two groups together. That was like the best fucking thing. Well, I guess it was good seeing Madoka again. Did you have pink leggings before?
あなた違うじゃない、あの人と。あなた
Her hood
私に手を
looks
差し伸べ
like
てくれたっけ。
looks like Aroa's.
私は入れないよ、あなた。
I can't understand that language.
お前とは違う。
Am I right? Is she a we? Fuck. And again, last episode of the season. So I imagine after this episode, you just had to kind of wait.
私はあれです。トウカちゃん、玉木いろは。トウカちゃん。
Are they gonna sacrifice Nemu? I don't know what the fuck's going on in here.
私の計画を台無しにしてくれたね、玉木いろは。噂で人をさらったり、魔女で街を壊すのは悪いことだよ。だから魔法少女を運命から解放するためだって言ってるじゃない。トウカちゃんはそんなことする子じゃなかったでしょ。あなた一体誰なの？誰のつもりなの？
Yeah, it's the element that nobody remembers Aroa.
それはダメだ。エムちゃん。
Even though she remembers everything.
いろはお姉さん。お姉さん？急に何を言い出すの？ネム。すまない。僕は今まで嘘をついていた。
If she gets up from that chair and just starts walking,
最後まで嘘を突き通すこともできなかった。何？どういうつもり？二人には真実を語ろう。ここに至るまでの
oh, you better not dead end on this.
全てを。
That there's no Ui in that picture either. Oh, fuck off. God damn it. I knew they were going to cliffhanger us. So, was I right? Don't tell me, obviously. I'm asking as a general thing for when I come back with the... Oh man, season 3 only has 4 episodes, so we're going to get right into it, I assume. God, that is so fucking good, right? I was thinking just before I started recording, and I didn't put it down in my notes anywhere, that I think Magia Record is just as good as Madoka Magica. Madoka Magica accomplishes what it needs to in a shorter time span, but I think Magia Record gets us invested in more characters over the course of a longer period of time, and it tells a larger story. I know that the two things aren't, like, equal in what they're trying to do, but I think the payoff is equal. Yeah, it's so fucking good. I hope the final payoff turns out to be good, but I can't see how they could fail with all the setup that they've actually done so far. The element that I have to think that Kure is going to be Ui. That whatever wish happened, she transformed into somebody else. And that's the abandonment thing that I'm seeing from their doppel. Might not actually be a doppel, I have no friggin' idea. And then... You gonna give us a hint? No. Okay, just that they were going to be continued. That the element of abandonment and it looks like Ui. I guess the problem here is that I've guessed so many things that at this point you're like, oh, it's just one of the 70 things that you guessed. So there's no benefit for me saying, oh, I was right. Because I was right about one thing out of all the other things that I guessed. But, yeah. I guess Nemu, the idea is that Nemu is so smart, because that's the thing that we know about her. She was the smart one, and Toka was the social one, even though she's not very good at being social. Well, she's not good about being social in the friend group that we see her in. She's very good at being social when it comes to mass talking to people, public speaking, whatever. That she could figure out from the images and whatnot that something was missing, and I guess that she figured out what was missing. I don't know if she knows specifically about Ui is missing, but she knows something is missing, is my guess. It's also the element that she's interacting with Kyobi. Because the thing is that I would believe that she must have made a wish, because, she's here in the magical girl realm. But how is she dying if she's a magical girl? Because her body should still be a husk. It's an existing question that I still have. I just don't know. There's a lot going on here, and I don't think I'm going to put it together here in the moment. Because obviously something's got to happen with Curry. We're going to get the reveal from Nemu. Toga clearly doesn't know what's going on. So clearly she's just been operating on Nemu's thing, and then Nemu's changing the plan after the fact, which is why Toga's been getting confused. I almost thought that their plan was to sacrifice everything to become as strong as Madoka becomes at the end of her show, so that it wouldn't matter how much they sacrificed, because they could just reverse everything the kind of way that Madoka kind of can do that in her thing. I guess in that case, I'm not going to be so sad that Madoka and gang have left, because there's only be 4 more episodes, right? So the fact that they leave just means they're doing their own thing now. Presumably, since we know this is a failed timeline, they've just saved Mammy to then go back and fight the Walpurgis, which is going to kill everyone except for Akemi, who's then going to go rewind. So legitimately saving Mammy meant nothing at the end of the day. Because, not for nothing, this is not the timeline where everything finishes. At which case, what? I'm trying to put it into the greater order of what matters, and when you take the big step backwards, nothing actually matters. We're all insignificant pieces of dust in a wide universe, but it's just the element of, does any of this timeline matter? And what happens in every other timeline? Because, okay, Madoka and gang head back to it's Mita something, I can never remember the name of it. They go back to their town and get into the fight with the Walpurgis. Everyone dies except for Akemi, who then rewinds and starts all over again and tries again, right? We never heard anything about any of this happening in the Madoka, because of course we wouldn't. This was made after the fact. I'm not disputing any of that. It's just the element of, does all of this still happen in repeat every time Akemi goes back to try and save Madoka? And was any of the Madoka gang necessary to any part of what's going on here? Because if they were, we know in the final rundown that none of them are here. I guess technically, if you look at it, everything Madoka and gang did over here happened separately. They joined in the larger fights, but those larger fights wouldn't have really happened because Mammy wouldn't have been here shooting everybody. So, yeah. I don't know. It's just a weird, completely different story in the final run, but also, is this an isolated event? Is this the only time it happens? In the same way that every Kemi rewind seemingly is slightly different from the last one. Did Koro / Ui make the wish, not make the wish every other time? Because if it's one starting event that sets into motion all the dominoes that causes Nemu and Toka to go off and start this whole thing, then if that one domino doesn't fall in every other timeline, then these people don't have this, right? And technically, does the Ui, Aroa, Toka, Nemu thing have any real relation to the Yachio, Yui? Well, no, Felicia wouldn't have been part of it back then. Their thing, right? Does Mel die, or does Mel dying have anything to do with that other group? Because if it doesn't, then Mel is always just going to get bad luck and die. Yui is always going to become this mask that is exhausting themselves to depression and become a witch, I guess, eventually. So that's what feels like the end game for her is that she's going to go from happy, smiley to just suddenly becoming a witch because she's exhausted and depressed. The Gachio is going to be isolated to the point of just becoming a witch, too. Well, no, because, I guess they wouldn't. They wouldn't because they're all in contact with Coordinator, but would Coordinator still be the Coordinator without, the Magius organization? I'm just going to isolate the 4 people together into Magius, because I don't think Magius would exist without that domino falling. And without the Magius, I don't think Coordinator exists as Coordinator, because I think that's where she's getting her supply of grief seeds, which would then mean that the Doppels also wouldn't exist, which would mean that Yui and Yachio would have nowhere to go to refresh themselves. Although I guess without the Magius organization, witches would just be normally wandering around as witches, right? So you could just get your grief seeds that way. All of the magical girls, though, were underneath the Magius, which means it would be just a lot more magical girls competing against one another. And this place is rife with magical girls. So it could also just not work out that way. And no one's going to Coordinator, because again, Coordinator wouldn't have that role anymore. Meaning that we don't have this friendly agreement not to go after one another. Yeah, I guess in a one way, no Magius, still a horrible world. With the Magius, less horrible? I don't know. Sorry, I started this trying to go onto a path of trying to figure out where we're going, and I just created a whole nother side story in my head about what the timelines are like without the Magius organization, so I don't know. Well, I think I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up here, and then I'll try and put down actual notes for next time, into the thing, and then we can discuss it there, rather than running off the cuff, because obviously you can see how easily I'm distracted. I think the Yui mask thing is going to be a major thing, because obviously I think that's going to relate to Kuro, and that's what we're supposed to be seeing there. Really sad episode. Like I said, if I wasn't in so much pain right now, it would have hit me more emotionally. But since I'm dealing with the physical pain, the emotional pain didn't really have a chance to shine through. Felt myself choking up a bit, but that was about it. God, I love this show. I'm going to be sad when we're finished. I guess it's going to be the real impetus to actually hitting up those movies so that I still have like one more chance to experience the characters again. Oh man, I'm also now thinking that there's probably... I know there's probably a greater than 0 chance, but there's probably a very extremely low chance that our Magia record characters are going to show up in the Walpurgis Rising thing. Hell, the Walpurgis Rising thing might not even have any of the characters. Walpurgis Rising sounds to me like it's going to be the origin story of whatever the Walpurgis came from, the magical girl the Walpurgis came from, so there might be no opportunity to see any of our group again. We might have hit the peak. I mean, in an ideal situation, the story's going to go, we're here right now, and the story's going to keep going like this. Up, good, keep going good. But the 2 groups coming in contact with another, Madoka and Iroha, their groups, that might have been the peak. And possibility exists that, I'm not going to say we're going downhill, but that we're going to just plateau here. Which not a big problem with. If we can maintain this good, great quality all the way through, I'm here for it. I'm here for it anyway, mind you, but I would appreciate. I guess I'm gonna let me know if there's any other material. Again, not manga, not light novel, not game. That's not what we handle here on the channel anymore. Let me know if there's any other like bonus content that I'm missing, any other movies other than... God, I think there's like a 5-minute movie in addition to the other 3 movies. Let me know. Just make sure that I'm not missing anything, because God forbid, I would hate to. I always like to finish a series knowing that I have seen everything. So, yeah, beyond all of that, once again, I have been Theta, this has been Stonefaced Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey,
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video and what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?